Hi, I'm Art Thompson. This is the Son of Kong pedal. This is a dual channel booster EQ designed and built by a guy named Arthur Midget Slootman, who was Frank Zappa's tech back in the day. Now, Midget put this circuit in all of Frank's guitars from 1979 onward, and it's an interesting box. It actually has an active DI out with a real high quality transformer. It's got a boatload of gain, and it does a bunch of different things. So let's take kind of a look and walk through some of the sounds it makes. Okay, so we've got Son of Kong here plugged into my trusty SG, and this is, the format here is you've got two gain controls, you've got a way to switch between the two channels, and basically when the green light's on, the pedal is bypassed. So slightly counterintuitive, but switch it off, and now you've got it running through the Son of Kong's electronics. So here's the sound. I'm going to just do a simple configuration here where we're running through V1, the first channel, and the gain is about at unity. And what we're trying to hear here is just how this circuit clarifies the sound. This will be a real clean setting here. So here it is without Son of Kong being on. Okay, that's the sound bypassed. Here is with Son of Kong on. You can tell that there's suddenly more high end, even though the EQ is set flat. On this pedal we have kind of a quasi-parametric EQ where you've got gain, you've got a frequency adjustment knob, and then you've got a knob to adjust the Q, or the bandwidth of the circuit. So anyway, with the setting I've got right now, I'm not doing any EQ boosting at all, and you can hear that little additional clarity when Son of Kong is on. Now, there's about 6 dB of gain in this setting, and so we can get a little bit of boost here. Now, by backing this off and setting this switch here to the -20 position, we can get a heck of a lot more gain. So there's quite a bit of boost to play with just on this first channel. So let's look at the EQ here a little bit. There's a gain control, a frequency control, and a Q control, which adjusts the bandwidth of the circuit. So in flat mode, it just sounds pretty much like straight guitar. We start adjusting the EQ a bit. Let's raise the gain. Let's change the frequency. We'll raise it up a bit, and we'll change the Q here. So there's a lot of things you can do in this mode. You can really like skinny up the tones. You can beef things up if you want. Let's raise this down a little bit. Now you can see as we start to increase the gain of the EQ here, we're also starting to get some distortion. So yeah, in effect the Son of Kong, even though it's really not a distortion box, it is introducing distortion through the EQ. Some of the other things you can do with this pedal besides just EQ and boost on this channel is that you can toggle it over here to V2, and you can have a different gain setting here. So you can have V1 riding at, say, a mild boost setting. You can take it over to V2 and you can crank more boost in it. Now, in this particular configuration, there's a switch here that allows you to either have EQ on this V2 side or not have EQ. Right now, there's no EQ. So when we toggle between them, we're just going from one gain setting over to a much higher gain setting. And kind of in the same way, when we put it back to V1, we could change the EQ up. Let's raise the gain here, mess around with add a little high end, change the Q. And so in this mode, we'll hear the affected or the EQ'd sound on V1, and then it won't be EQ'd when we move to V2. So here's the V1 side. Switching to V2, the EQ's out. Sounds more like straight guitar coming through it, but with some boost. Some of the other things you can do here is move the EQ over to this other setting. Now in this position, you've got EQ on both of these sides. So in that particular case, I'm just going to leave the controls where they are. There'll be more gain on V2 than there is on V1. Let's just check that out. So here's back to V1. Moving to V2. So you can tell there's more boost. The EQ is being shared by both channels now. Another thing that's kind of cool is there's a frequency range switch here. Right now we've got it in the treble position. You can move it to the bass position, and all of a sudden the EQ responds differently. I'll move it back to V1 again. So we're affecting different frequencies, and so I can crank the frequency knob up, and it's going to be operating in a much lower range. Change the Q here a little bit. Move it back to the treble position, and it's going to be a different sound. So anyway, there's a lot of things you can do by having both of these channels at your disposal. Have EQ on one side, no EQ on the other, dial in a milder amount of boost on one channel, a much larger amount of boost on the second channel. And one of the things about Son of Kong 2 is the DI is always active. There's so you can always output to your mixer or whatever you want to send it to. In standard mode, Son of Kong is not true bypass, but it is putting output from this jack, the out jack, and the through jack simultaneously, and also through the DI. You've got a jumper inside where you can change that, and it reverts to true bypass, and then when you toggle the bypass switch, it's going to allow you to send output from these depending on how you've got this switch set. So you can use it to switch between amplifiers or channels on the same amp or something like that. So anyway, there's a lot of different ways to roll with this pedal, and it can be thought of as everything from a very nice clean EQ to a switching box to an active DI box, and to something that you can switch amps with or do a number of things. It's kind of a switchblade, so there's a lot of ways to go with Son of Kong, and it's worth checking out if you're looking for something to add some magic EQ to your rig.